Hey, slash I do buckaroos. How the heck are you? Man, it is just hot here. I guess it really isn't all that hot. It just feels like it. It's just sticky as hell, man. We've had such nasty rain. Anyway, how the heck are you? I apologize for being a little late. I had some issues. But I'm kind of work. I'm off tomorrow, but I got to work Thursday and Friday. And I thought, well, let's try to get a video in today with just a couple cocktails and relax. Uh, but getting set up sometimes is relaxing. It's hard to with the issues getting everything together today. Anyways, let me check something real quick. Make sure we're set up the right way. When I set this video up, I actually had no idea at all what I was going to be drinking. I just kind of put together on the fly. That was part of the reason why everything just took so long because I thought I knew where everything was, but turns out I didn't. Turns out I had no fucking idea. Anyways, thought the things would be easier to find than they were, and I had something in my hand and I forgot where I put it. Anyways, it's typically I start with the lighter cocktail first, but I'm kind of going backwards today. We just wanted to start with you with a classic Manhattan. Mm, that's delicious. I'm using the Switchgrass bottled and bond rye whiskey. This stuff is insane, man. Switchgrass is doing some good stuff, but this is their first bottled and bond product. It's the first bottled and bond product that I've had from them, and it is crazy good. Oh, had a wild weekend last weekend. I did a bus tour with Springfield Brewing Company. That was a lot of fun. And then Sunday, I was in a bartending contest of all things, competing with folks half my age or more. It was interesting. I was surprised to do as well as I did, though. In all honesty, even though I am the old man in I was the old man in the contest. I mean, as far as professional bartending experience, they all had more than I do. But I was kind of surprised to listen to most of them only been doing it a couple years. And some of them had some really imaginative cocktails that I would have never thought of. But at the end of it, I mean, the folks that told me they liked my cocktail, even the folks that might have liked others better, actually all told me that what they did like about my cocktail is that I had the only spirit forward cocktail of the thing. And that's kind of my forte. I am trying to learn other things and other techniques and to use other spirits, but I don't think I'll ever get away from that because that's really my home run swing, right? Is that spirit forward cocktail. The Manhattan, the martini, I might do derivatives of, but yeah, I mean that's really where I need to stay because I don't really like fruity drinks. I don't like sweet drinks, so trying to trying to do that as a regular repertoire just doesn't make sense to me anyway. I'm just going to stay with what I do well. Even though that might not be where the current trend is, I feel like people always go back to the to the classics, especially as they get older. I think it's natural to want those crazy drinks when you're younger and do crazy things, and then you get some age on you. Okay, let me just focus on the classics. I did so I got this bitters collection for my birthday. Uh, they're strong water. 40% ABV. Damn. Anyways, golden aromatic is what I use for this particular Manhattan. Just I went pretty close to just keeping it looking like a classic Manhattan. Sweet vermouth. Oh, excuse me. Oh, the sweet vermouth. Um, that beautiful rye. The so it is most likely that rye was the first whiskey in Manhattan, but it's not a foregone conclusion. There is some debate about it. The truth is, it really doesn't matter. If it was a bourbon, there is no doubt that it was a traditional bourbon that uses rye as a secondary, and most likely it was a high rye bourbon. And so, as far as I'm concerned, they're all acceptable. The only thing for me is I would never use a wheated bourbon in a Manhattan or an old fashioned because I think that's going to make your drink too sweet. But a lot of folks do like Buffalo Trace in an old fashioned. For me, I just don't get it. For me, the whiskey doesn't have enough body, and it's too sweet. So it, I don't feel like it's right for an old fashioned. But those of a certain age, those much younger than me, tend to like that wheated, and I can't make it make sense. If I'm not using a rye, yeah, I prefer to use a high rye bourbon. Oh man, gosh, that's gorgeous. I'm gonna have one more cocktail with you, but I've got to jump off camera if you want to go grab it. I'm gonna make it backstage, if you will. I've got it proportioned out, but I gotta give it a shake, and so I'll be right after I finish this bad boy. My wife, I'm not sure where these I don't know if they came from storage or she found them at a thrift store. But she came home with were these out of storage or did you buy them? Thrift store. Garage sale. There we go. Anyway, yeah. How much? 25 cents a piece. A lot of really nice glassware, nice etching, fancy. Anyways, bear with me, folks. I'm going to take that cherry out. Put it off to the side. Maybe. No, didn't go where I wanted it to go, unfortunately. Hoping it would just sit there, but it's not gonna. Give me 2 minutes, folks. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. That probably took a little bit longer than I said it would. Anyway, I'm back, Sláinte, with a classic. Take my garnish out of there because it's just in the way at the moment. Boston Sour. Got the foam on there, as you can see. I just didn't do the little fancy thing on top like some of them do with the bitters, but I was trying to get out here quick. So I did this one a little bit different though. I used a switchgrass spirit, but I had just a little bit. Well, I had about 2.5 ounces actually of this switchgrass bourbon at 92 proof. Small batch from grain to glass. It says they're out of St. Louis, Missouri. So what I did with that one, yeah, is I did about 2.5 ounces of the whiskey, 1 ounce of Tiakida uh, candied orange liqueur. That's where I got the sweetness. I didn't add any other simple. About a half ounce of lemon juice, about a half ounce of lime juice. Kept this one very simple. Another one of them fancy glasses my wife got. Oh, mercy. Growing up, I was more of a highball guy. Dad always drank bourbon and water. And when I say that, I mean he took a short highball glass, put as much ice in there as it would fit, uh, poured the Jim Beam until there was about this much room, and then opened a tap and just a splash. Mom drank bourbon in seven, not quite as much bourbon as dad. So I started drinking bourbon in seven. But by the time I was 22, that was really much too sweet for me. Then I went to bourbon and soda because I liked the carbonation, man. I like the bubbles. But by the time I got to my 30s, I was already drinking bourbon rocks. And now my older age, well, I guess 20 years ago, I started drinking more neat whiskey. But it's really only been in the last few years that I've really gravitated towards more cocktails. But as I said before, it's that spirit forward cocktail. I don't like big fruity sweet drinks. They're not for me. I don't have a problem with folks that drink them. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I've always enjoyed the taste of the liquor. So the idea of hiding it, I can't make sense. So for me, the classic is the Manhattan, and almost every cocktail that uses whiskey uses the Manhattan as a template. Some will say the old fashioned, but it's basically the Manhattan. But yeah, when I have a cocktail, it's going to be a spirit forward cocktail. Again, the Manhattan, the martini, the whiskey sour, the old fashioned. They're all spirit forward cocktails. It's really delicious though. I like the way that all came together. Oh, mercy. Now I'm starting to feel better. I was going to do a video. I got off work a little bit early, so I wasn't going to do a video when I first got home. But then I realized I hadn't ate for over 8 hours, and I just kind of hit a wall. So I went and ate some. This now I can relax, do the video. But then I couldn't find what I was looking for. Then I got all tensed up again. And so again, where is that? I just had it. Oh, The Saturday before, we had my wife threw me a 60th birthday party. So I don't know why I waited till I was 60 to become social. all, of a sudden, all of a sudden, I'm getting that way out of my comfort zone, man. What was interesting for me about that bartending competition was the skill level that these young folks had. They had employed technique that I would have never thought of or even entertained. Used ingredients that would have never crossed my mind. Now, is it things that I'm likely to do? In all honesty, no, not for me. But I can use the idea of some of the things they did and then translate it to my style, which is, that whiskey or spirit forward cocktail. I like to keep it simple. I like to keep it about 3 or 4 ingredients tops. But yeah, for me, usually the other ingredients you put in a cocktail are there to elevate the spirit, whatever spirit you're using, not to hide it. But again, I think that's kind of the trend, especially younger drinkers have always wanted things sweeter to hide the taste of alcohol. I think you develop more of a taste for the spirit of the alcohol as you get older. Unfortunately for me, I've always had that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a natural progression. So I think it's natural for a lot of these folks to be using the ingredients or using making the type of drinks they are. I think as they get about a decade older, they won't want things quite as sweet because I think that seems to be the natural progression, especially if you like liquor, if you like the alcohol. And again, if you're using good product, it just seems a shame to me to try to hide it. Find other ingredients that will elevate it instead of hiding it. That's my philosophy. That's my philosophy. That's how I see it, man. anyway, anyways, I digress. Yeah, I was hoping to get this one started about 30 minutes before I did, but nevertheless, this was a really nice cocktail. I really like the way it was a very simple whiskey sour. Now, I'll be honest with you. It may not be sweet enough for many out there. But again, going back to what I said earlier, yeah, I just want enough sweetness to take the edge off the tart, which is why I use that candied orange, adding the orange, another citrus to the lemon and lime components. That's what I was trying to get to. So, anyways, I digress. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer. Whiskey evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, Prairie Wisdom, all around good guy. Slash, thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it. Oh man, have a good one, guys. Thanks.